Hi, everyone. This is Mark VOLMAN from the Turtles. That's right. So happy together, and you're happy together right now on the acoustic record with Java John, #1 with a bullet.
With a bullet?
With a bullet.
All right, Mark, how you been, buddy?
I've been good. Thanks. I've been really busy, and that's what you like, be really busy.
So you guys are out on the road with the Happy Together tour?
You knew that. Good. Either that or you're tapped into some sort of yes.
I'm tapped into
Yes.
some sort of...
We've been out on this tour all summer, and we're actually in the last vestiges of about 30 cities. So we've got about 7 left to go.
Wow, that's a pretty good sized tour for you guys this time around, eh?
Well, it actually ended up being, in the past 4 years, we've done, the hippie fest. This actually has turned out to be city and show-wise the biggest, the most cities we've done in the past 4 years on a package like this. I think it's the package. I think everybody really loves the group that we put together. I think that's a huge difference. You've got incredible amounts of hit songs, and it kind of felt like the last few years that it kind of had an up and down quality to it, that the audience sort of, they got up and left after some of the acts. So we tried to eliminate that.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that.
Well, I mean, you know what? When you have, 3,000 people at a show, I mean, somebody's always going to find something they don't like. And there's always going to be people who wish they'd have seen other acts instead of the ones we brought. Or there's always going to be somebody complaining that we didn't play enough. So,
right.
And so, you can't please everyone. Hopefully this will be a good show, and it seems like most of the response we've had in terms of fan response and concert reviews have just been glowing. So
nice.
Hopefully that'll keep going through next year. We're hoping to keep the tour running.
Oh, good. Well, this time around, it's Mickey Dolenz. Am I correct?
Yeah. The Buckingham.
Yeah.
Mark Lindsay, the Grassroots, and the Turtles.
Cool. I haven't heard of Mark being out on the road for a long time. That sounds great.
He's got a great show. And I mean, he was the voice of the original Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Oh, yeah.
He was also the poster child for the beginnings of the teen idol business back in the 60s.
That's right.
I mean, Mark Lindsay was the original Jonas brother.
Yeah.
So all those kids have learned because of artists like Mark in the 60s. He was on the cover of every magazine there was. So.
Well, I've had the pleasure of seeing you, Mark VOLMAN, and Howard Kalin of the Turtles in concert about a half a dozen times or so. But it's already been 20 years since that. There was a couple years in a row that I went to see you, and now it's been already 20 years since I last saw you. Time flies when you're having fun, and
you know what? Even if you're not having fun,
it still flies.
Yeah, I mean, whoever made that comment really missed the point. The point is that it's flying by, baby, faster than a hurricane.
I hear that.
As my good friend Stephen Chapman wrote, life blows by like a hurricane. So you really, I think as we get older, we appreciate what has happened in career. Fans have just given us something very cherished. And I think all the artists on this bill really are acts that appreciate where they are in their life now. And I think that's what makes the tour so much fun, I think, is that everybody just really gets along. We've had a few things to patch up in terms of guys filling in or playing a little longer or something, or changing the order or whatever, and everybody they just are really look at the importance of doing a really great show, and that's a real valuable thing. In the past summers with Hippie Fest, you are bucking the system when you have a headliner that takes 25 minutes to turn over the equipment and needs to have his own sound system, and it doesn't help the audience when you're trying to do something that's moving straight through and keep the momentum up. The audience we play to, is at a different time in their lives too.
Right.
Concert business has changed for them. Fixed incomes, negative economy, foreclosures. I mean, the idea that anybody can spend money and come out to a concert is just really phenomenal that they do. And
oh yeah.
We've just seen that on this tour. Has just been great response, and so we really appreciate that. I think that's the big difference now, is we just don't take it for granted,
Well, and I think that the reverse is true, from our point of view too, because we really appreciate what you artists had done in that era. That is actually, it's become part of our lives and part of our kids' lives and part of the grandkids' lives. It's just it's a beautiful thing that it's lasted this long on both sides.
Well, I think somebody said the other night, kind of in the same vein that you just sort of reflected on. Maybe with age, it's more reflection than it is just pure, rock and roll.
Right.
There's more of a reflection on I don't know if these groups are going to come out again. I don't know how much longer they're going to tour. I don't know how much longer the economy will allow groups of our limited scope in terms of, this is not Paul McCartney and it's not the Eagles. And then when you read about the Eagles canceling show and you read about American Idol canceling shows and you read about Christina, huge acts who are struggling. And here you've got 5 acts who have been touring for 45 years.
Yeah.
It's like there's something crazy about how things are sort of going, because we're just really having a great time, and we're sort of looking at it every year. You kind of go, you can't change, like I said, for better or for worse. We're all stuck here doing this, and we're just trying to see our way through this summer, and hopefully we can. There's a lot of cities now that have heard about the show, and cities we haven't played who now want the show, and we're already looking towards next summer with really bright future on the Happy Together tour. So
right on.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
The other. Oh, you already mentioned the Grassroots and Mark Lindsay, right, and the Buckingham. So great. That's a great lineup, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. About how long is the whole show last about?
Well, it's a 2.5 hour of music.
Right.
So everybody does 30 minutes, and then some of the theaters have put on a local act. Some of the theaters have asked for intermission. So, but from our standpoint, we created the show to be 2.5 hours. That's about as long as the members of the band can hold out before they have to use the restroom again. So,
let's leave that at that.
It's funny though. Some people have written in and said, it was too long, or I wish Mickey Dolenz would have played more, or I wish
Right.
the Turtles had shut up, or I wish, and then you got the other people who say, wow, it should be just, can't they play longer? And
Right.
we love Mickey Dolenz, or we love the Turtles, and you go forward. We all bring our fan bases to this thing, and
Right.
I think one of the things that happens is Turtle fans might not have been Monkees fans,
Right.
but they see the show, and they almost instantaneously become a Mickey Dolenz fan.
Sure.
He's just such a sweet individual, and so professional, and does such a great show. And that's what I was saying about, we sort of bring our fans to the party, and each of the group's fans sort of discover, hey, I really like the songs of the Grassroots. And maybe they didn't know that. So that's a kind of a fun thing. We always try to pick acts that are kind of in harmony, but that doesn't always happen. But this summer has been a really good one.
Nice. I want to ask you about one other event that recently took place. You and Howard managed to get U2 to back you up? Is that something that I?
Oh, yeah, right.
That looked like an awesome event.
Actually, what happened is we made an album during the late 80s with an Irish artist by the name of Gavin Friday.
Yes.
And Gavin is a just tremendously talented writer and singer who happens to be Bono's favorite person in the world.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Bono, when you ask him his influences, Gavin is
That's it.
right next to Mark Bolan. And so when Bono, we were contacted through the producer, Hal Wilner, about a birthday celebration that Bono was going to throw for Gavin Friday at Carnegie Hall. And what they ended up doing was tied it together with Bono's charity, the Red Foundation for AIDS for Africa, and put together a superstar lineup. And then us, I mean, everybody from U2 to Scarlett Johansson to
Courtney Love.
Lou Reed.
Yeah.
And Laurie Anderson and Courtney Love, and the list was unbelievable. The Pogues got together and played,
Nice.
which was Gavin's original group.
Right.
And it was really a fabulous night. Lady Gaga joined us, and we rehearsed for about 3 days in New York. And one of the things that happened is Bono asked Howard and I to sing some T-Rex songs with U2 because they were such huge fans of the records that we had made with Mark.
Sure.
And, so
Nice.
we ended up singing 3 songs with them. And then we did a couple of Gavin Friday songs also with Bono. And I know it sounds like, on Bono, my good friend, but quite honestly, we had met them in the 80s. We were in Europe touring as Flo and Eddie, and they actually did 3 shows with us, and they were just starting out. They had just released the single I Will Follow, and
Wow.
they just used to hang out with us.
Right on.
They just thought we were the coolest guys, which obviously shows you what they know. And we actually just had the greatest time back then because we sort of were really egomaniacs saying, yeah, if you guys ever get big, you might make it to America, It's and when they asked us to do that, I kept saying to Howard, I hope they don't remember that, And the very first thing that came out of Edge's mouth was, we're still trying to catch up to you, he just, and Larry Larry told me that they had talked about that for a couple of days, about how they just thought it was so funny. And, you know, because they didn't know either. You know, they were sort of hoping it would all happen, but
Sure.
they totally kind of understood where it was coming from. And we were very fortunate to get to go out this year, and their trip around America, we've been able to go, and we actually sang with them in Raleigh, I think Raleigh, North Carolina, at the football stadium. We did The Children of the Revolution, which was a song Bono and Gavin, that's a T-Rex song, Howard and I sang on. And they did it as an encore, and we happened to be there that night, and I guess they knew we were going to be there, and we came up and sang with them. But we had actually worked with U2 on a record produced by Rick Rubin that has yet to come out. So I'm not sure if the material we worked on will be a part of it or not, but we actually went in the studio and did some backing on a couple of songs, and it's very cool. They're really great guys. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to meet them, but they're
not yet.
Just really, yeah, they're great family guys, and they take direction good. I had to pretty much lead them through the T-Rex material because they said sort of had their own take on things, and so I had to kind of stop them at rehearsal, which was very funny a few times. And Bono is such a sweet guy, you know. It was like he'd look over and say, "Okay, are we doing it right now?" You know, and it's like, "Well, I'm not sure," you know. Let's back up into the bridge, you know. It's like after a while, I guess I got a little power hungry, but it was really fun. And they're, like I say, we enjoy their company, and the project that night we sang on, you know, raised almost $1.5 million for the Red Foundation, and they just know that we would work with them on any project like that. So
right on.
That's great that you know that. I mean, that was not a really big, you know, it wasn't offered to the public, really.
Right.
The tickets went to a lot of donors and sponsors of the Red Foundation, and because it was a birthday party. But, I mean, Carnegie Hall was sold out. And I think to give you an indication of what Bono is like, Gavin had said once that, you know, by his 50th birthday, he wanted to play at Carnegie Hall so his mother would be able to say, "My son played Carnegie Hall." And so actually what happened is Bono rented Carnegie Hall personally. And he's the one who made it all happen. He put up all the money for the birthday party and the celebration. And, you know, you get guys out like Rufus Wainwright.
Who's amazing.
You get people out like Chloe Webb. You get the great musicians who came out from...
Joel Gray.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
amazing.
And they did film it, and I think I was told parts of it are going to air on some PBS special for Ireland, some Irish, one of the music of Ireland. So
that was my next question. Good. I hope to see some of that. That would be wonderful.
Yeah. In fact, I spoke with the people from PBS because they wanted to get the okay. That was something nobody really knew up front that it was going to happen. And, it ended up being filmed, and I don't know if it'll ever in its entirety be seen, but for us, it was that's the kind of stuff when you can do something that not only is fun, you're working with just incredibly talented people, which we've been so blessed to be able to do, you know, making records with Frank Zappa and Joey Ramone and working with Keith Moon and just all the artists that we've had that ability to be around and work. You really enjoy those times because you might not ever get a chance to do it again.
That's right.
So that's sort of like, you know, when we do do this tour, and like we have a day off today, and we just finished 7 concerts in a row.
Wow.
7 nights in 7 different cities. Really been like touring with Nickelodeon, you know? And you got these 2 superstars of the 60s, Mickey and Mark, you know? I mean, they're just huge. People just love them.
Oh, yeah.
From there. Because of TV, I think, you know, they sort of have an edge up on everybody else because they were on television so much.
Right.
And Mickey is just seriously, it's like touring with Mary Tyler Moore or something like that. You know, because the fans just cheer. Crazy. Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, crazy with success, and the same with Mark. And they're both so very cordial and fan friendly. You know, so.
Nice. Well, Mark, I tell you what, we very much look forward to seeing you in Daytona Beach this weekend. I think it's Friday night in Daytona Beach, if I'm not mistaken.
And, you know, I don't want to guess because I'll look so stupid.
Well, that's okay. I'll have it sorted out before I air this later tonight. And
we're, like I say, always look forward to coming down to the Florida area. Good fans, and you know, we've noticed people coming out of all ages, so it's really an all ages type show. It really is. So people are going to have a good time, and we'll look forward to seeing you there.
Right on. Well, Mark VOLMAN, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. I'd like someday to, when you're sitting at home, if you've got a little time, maybe we could just sit down and talk history of music or something like that, because I know you're the king of that sort of thing.
Well, I've definitely had to school myself on it. Through the university that I work at, I actually taught history courses, and by doing that, it forced me to learn it. And you know, I thought I had a pretty good grasp on the history of music until you have to teach somebody about the history of music.
Yeah.
Then it really demands kind of learning the idiosyncrasies of the different genres and the different decades and what sort of perpetuated the changing tide of each of those genres. And it was really a wonderful experience, not just learning about it, but to eventually, I've been teaching that class for about 7 years, and I finally told my wife, John, I said, I think I'm finally getting a handle on this class because there's so much to it, and you don't want to tell a student, who was important, and then discover that they weren't really as important to the mix as maybe somebody else was.
Right.
You want to try and open their eyes to explore. One of the great things I've experienced is how, a young 18, 19-year-old student tell me because of the class, they would go out and buy, the 6 Beatle records I talk about in class, or they would go out and discover, Buddy Holly or something, because, you play a song and it would just be one of those things where they would, want to go farther into that part of the history. And so that's always a really great experience when you get to that point.
Well, since you mentioned that, I'm gonna throw one more thing at you here. I was much delighted to see the appearance of Flo and Eddie on the digital download circuit.
Yeah, that's been in the works for quite a while. You don't get as much publicity about Flo and Eddie stuff. The fan base isn't as big as the Turtles.
Right.
But the Flo and Eddie albums have become, around the world, maybe even more than domestically, have become very much a prized item. We did have some success. In fact, we're going over to Australia in November, and we continue to tour Europe as Flo and Eddie, mainly because of our success with records like Keep It Warm and Moving Targets and the records we made. But we wanted to make those available. They haven't been available to the public for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And they never were put out on CD. And so when the digital world sort of opened up to us, we saw that as an opportunity. And we had to negotiate some ownership problems. The first two albums, Flo and Eddie and the Fluorescent Leech and Eddie, are owned by Howard and I. But the second two records were owned by CBS. And we really were not looking forward to having to do something illegal.
Right.
And then have to fight about it later.
Right.
So we had to jump into the battle of negotiating the masters, and they're not a really easy company. I'm not sure any company is.
No.
I think what happens is they have a lot of new people running these companies who don't even know who Flo and Eddie are.
Sure.
So to them, they're trying to protect their interests as a company, and we're trying to expose the product so that the fans have an opportunity to get it.
Sure.
So you're sort of fighting a really hard, it's a hard battle because, they just don't want to give it up for nothing. And they are the ones who feel like, well, we own it now, and we don't want to give it to you because we may be sorry in 3 years or 10 years. And that's the way CBS sort of is, because all the people we work with in negotiating this, not one of them was there when we made those records.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy. It was very frustrating, but eventually what we did is we literally negotiated a deal where we put out the product, and now we pay CBS a royalty.
Right.
And they became the artists, so to speak, and we became the record company, which is it's just crazy how it sort of flipped around. But it was worthwhile for us.
Sure.
And we really wanted the product available for the Flo and Eddie fans, and it has really been a surprise on the international marketplace. They're all available online now, and so that was really a fun project. Like I say, we started on it about 5 years ago, getting it ready, and then actually there are CDs available through our website.
Oh, nice.
People who don't know how to run their computer.
Yeah.
And,
I prefer the CD, but I did the download. And last time I talked with you, you guys were in the thick of getting it together, so I'm happy it finally came through.
Well, and also the album we made in 1981, we made an album in Jamaica that we talked about on interviews. We went over and did a reggae album with a lot of the great reggae musicians in Kingston, and that album has just now been negotiated, and sometime next year we will get up online also the Flo and Eddie reggae album, which we always talk about at our shows because we play some of the material. But
is it a Flo and Eddie album?
Yes, it's called
Okay.
Flo and Eddie Rocksteady.
Because there was another reggae type album on iTunes where I downloaded a reggae Happy Together, I think. Soul Sense. Who was that? Soul Sensation?
Soul Syndicate.
Soul Syndicate, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And they did a version because Soul Syndicate, the guitar player in Soul Syndicate was our co-producer on the reggae album, and then they made a version, and it actually Happy Together as a reggae song. If you go online and discover, you'll find about 6 or 7 different reggae versions.
Cool.
And it's kind of interesting because we sort of turned it into a reggae, conception that we didn't think people would bother with, but the European fans love reggae, and that was kind of a fun project. But
it works.
That's a nice thing. We also are just now releasing, for the diehard Flo and Eddie fans who know, we used to do New Year's and Christmas in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
We used to play at a nightclub there every year. We would do 4 days or 8 days sometimes at a place called The Bottom Line. Mm-hmm. And during our time there, we recorded all of the shows. And we just finished putting together a double CD called New York Times, the music of Flo and Eddie live from The Bottom Line. And that's
awesome.
That's a really treasure for the people who used to go to those shows. We used to do a lot of very special comedy and music, and so what we've done is made it available on a double CD, and then the album artwork and all the credits and everything appear on our website, so you actually follow all the music by watching the website, and
right.
It's kind of a nice situation. So
cool.
we're kind of always, re-evaluating the music in the library without it, getting too much. The greatest hits, which we made a deal with the Foundation to Save the Turtles in Marathon, Florida, and we put together a very special greatest hits album called Save the Turtles.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's the record that the money is being donated to the rehabilitation and rescue, and then the putting the turtles back out so that they can survive, especially now during the oil slick problem. And so we put together a project. We went there and visited the establishment
down in Marathon
years ago. In Marathon, and so those type of things, we don't always make big noise about those kind of things, but those are important projects that we can lend our name and our music towards. And the important thing this summer was this Turtles tour, and I think for the Flo and Eddie fans, the Frank Zappa fans who grew up with Howard and I, when we join Frank Zappa, we'll also be excited that next year we're going to do a tour with Weasel. And
with who?
With Frank's son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zappa plays Zappa. You're going to be part of it?
Yeah, we're going to do the 40th anniversary tour of live at the Philmari.
That's beautiful.
That is going to be a very special opportunity for us too. I mean, to work with the father and then the son.
Sure.
And then to get to sing the original music from Just Another Band from L.A.
Nice.
We're gonna just bring that out, and that's gonna happen in June.
Excellent.
Of next year. So
it's
gonna be fun.
Those kids are so talented. It's amazing.
Well, one of the things, and we've known Weasel since he was like an embryo.
Right. Exactly.
He was like virtually a sea monkey.
Sure.
And quite honestly, as great a musicians and singers is really matched by just what great people they are. I mean, they're just really, Gail and Frank were just, they're just really, really great parents too. I know people think of Frank in these kind of crazy ways, but Frank was just a really great guy. I mean, he was very much a unique individual with a lot of different type of creative things happening that made him different. But he also was just a really committed parent, and those kids have turned out great. Moon and Ahmed and all of them are very artistic people, and Moon's been a great writer, and Ahmed's had a screenplay, and so they're really very talented people, and good. I've never could say a bad thing about them. They've always been very respectful, and I really like them. So We turned down Zappa Plays Zappa for a couple of years. But when Dweezil approached us to do this particular tour, we thought this would be fun. This would really be fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't had an opportunity to see the tour yet myself, so maybe next summer will be the perfect time.
Well, I mean, I don't know their plans for it as a tour. I mean, I know that we're going to
do at least one day.
I know we're going to do New York and Philadelphia, Washington, and Boston, because those are easy.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure just how much after that. I think there has been talk of going overseas because our combined success with Frank and our relationship to the project going overseas would probably be a very popular tour.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
we'll start letting Dweezil kind of handle all that, and we'll just kind of see where that ends up.
Well, we might have to end up north then next summer.
Well, we'll see you on Friday. Thanks for the interview time, and stay well, okay?
I thank you, Mark. It's been a pleasure talking as always.
Well, thank you.
Take care of yourself, bud.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
They want a guy from a group with a big hit single in the charts.
Hi, everyone. This is Mark Bowman from the Turtles. That's right. So happy together, and you're happy together right now on the acoustic record with Java John, #1 with a bullet.
With a bullet?
With a bullet.